Hello,
Okay.
everybody, and welcome to episode 7 of the Groove Session Show with me, Roman.
And me, Jack.
We hope you're all doing well.
Yeah.
This is actually the first talk one this year, isn't it?
Well, yeah, it's the first one back after the Christmas break and New Year and stuff, like, because obviously we've been, I suppose we were all in that kind of mode of trying to wait to see what was happening with all this pandemic malarkey and stuff like that, and seeing if we could, get back to life, really, I guess. So, yeah. Well,
But
we're
in the
back anyway,
meantime-
so we're not going to disappoint you and stop the groove sessions just because we're not going to be in a pandemic anymore. So, may as well carry on. Yep, that's us.
So if you didn't see, we've recently put out a Groove Sessions, which you should go and check out. I'm not going to give it away. Just head to the channel. Link below.
Definitely check it out.
But let's crack on. Episode 7. So we're introducing a new segment called Overrated, Underrated. I'm going to fire some subjects at Jack.
Yeah.
He's going to rate them, give a little opinion on them, and then he's going to fire some at me. Let's go.
25. Okay.
My first one is Kanye West.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, go on, carry on. Carry on.
Kanye West.
Carry on.
Kanye West.
Oh, I thought there was more to it. So, I think he's overrated. That's my personal opinion.
Or as a person,
I think musically and a person and his shoes as well. I think his shoes are overrated. And I'm saying that because I want a pair. So can you please reduce the price of your shoes, Kanye? Please. I actually think he's overrated 100%. That's just my personal opinion. I just think I'm not a massive fan of his music. I really, really don't consider him to be a genuine nice person. As much as he tries to come across that way, I do think he's a bit of a bastard. Excuse my French, but yeah, I think it's just a bit of a I'm just gonna swear if I just carry on about him. So yeah, I think he's just an idiot. So yeah,
Kanye West
is too overrated for me.
Awesome. Okay, number 2, Billie Eilish.
Oh, that's a good one. That
or Billie Eilish.
I didn't know what to think of her at first, and she got really overrated really quickly.
Yeah.
But from what I've seen of her and heard about her as a person, but also how she works musically, I'd say underrated.
Yeah, I love that.
And ever since I heard, I'm a massive James Bond fan. And I've always been a fan of the soundtracks. I've always been a fan of hearing that title song sung by a different person every time. And to know that she's one of the youngest people to ever get asked to do that, I think for me it was just incredible. And she worked with one of my favorite composers as well, Hans Zimmer. He's like my all-time favorite composer, and I think that made it.
I knocked it out of the park.
Yeah, I think it knocked it out of the park and made it 10 times more better for me. So yeah, definitely I'd say right now underrated.
Awesome.
Definitely.
Okay. Grime.
Overrated.
Yeah.
Nothing more to say. Overrated.
Nice. What about chart music today?
Overrated.
Overrated. Okay. Yeah, what I meant by that was the charts,
the top 50.
But even the charts as a thing, is it our streaming services starting to become more important than the charts? Do you know? The charts in 2021, sorry.
Nah, I think the charts are becoming more of a thing than streams.
Yeah.
I think it's if you're in the charts, you're doing well.
You still think it holds the key?
I think it holds the key to Well, yeah, because like if you can,
Major success.
if you can stay like number one for 3-4 weeks running, you're sorted. Because for the rest of your life, even if that song goes down over time, for the rest of your life, that song and you as an artist will be known that you were at number 4 for 4 weeks in a row. No, sorry, number 1 at 4 weeks in a row. So I think, overrated.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
What about Miley Cyrus?
What was that word you used earlier?
Properly rated.
Properly rated for me. I think she's overrated and underrated. I think she's overrated for her personality, and she's very, very overrated for her. I'm going to go with music, and people might disagree with me there. I would say she's underrated because she actually is quite really like in with the music, you know, like really good, like really like tries to produce it as really well. Like, you know, her writing and her stuff like that is really good. But I just think I don't like many of her songs, only a few of them. So I would have to say, what I said. That's it.
Cool. What about Instagram drummers?
What are they? I don't know what they are. I've never heard of them. No, I'm joking. I'm joking.
Drummers that tend to like put Instagram before an actual live session career. You know, the sort of I'm gonna go with
the middle one again. The partly or
properly
rated. Only purpose being is I think the overrated side of it is that those guys that are more about being an influencer and gaining things from it than actually being a drummer and for the music. Whereas there's a lot of drummers out there, you know, that I think are really underrated. And you see their profiles and they're like got 700 followers, but their quality of videos and the musicality and the everything about it is just like pure class. And that's what you want to see. And then you've got these guys who've got millions and hundreds of thousands of followers. And
because they've created it like a business.
Yeah, it's a business. It's not actually about the craft. They've like got to a point where it might have started off as a craft and now it's just developed into I'm getting all this attention and fame. So it's a business for me now. I'm making money from it. I don't really care about the drumming aspect of it anymore, you know. Like, you know, there's a lot of drummers out there that say like, I'll go into it in another episode. I won't blab on about it, but we'll probably have to talk about that in an episode actually, because I've got a fair bit to say about that. But yeah, I would say in the middle for different reasons.
The middle.
Yeah, different reasons.
Okay. What about the platform TikTok?
I would say again down the middle, straight up, because I think it's overrated in the fact that like they're giving, like they're allowing too many people to become an influencer on there.
Yeah.
But what I find unfair, and this again is my personal opinion, obvious viewers and listeners might have a disagreement with this, but I think they're allowing people who already have a platform to gain more on TikTok and have a certified platform on there as well. And I feel like TikTok should be for the people. I feel like TikTok should be for people that haven't got a platform and want to produce them, like make themselves known, you know?
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of underrated talent out there, like comedians, like, you know, everything across the whole board. But I think like you got people like, you know, like YouTubers like Logan Paul, Jake Paul, like KSI. You've got like influencers from Instagram who are certified that are on TikTok who have got a certified account. And it's just like, we see that, or we see all the time. It's like, where's the new stuff? Do you know what I mean? So that's the overrated side. The underrated side is actually like you can actually get a lot from TikTok, and people don't realize it. Like all you need, and what I've seen from last year, especially when TikTok became really big, because obviously everyone was using it and at home and creating. Yeah. All you need is a song. Yeah, produce a song, get it streaming to TikTok, and get people using that song in that video. And I'm telling you now, that song will blow up.
Yeah.
Because people that have never made songs have put their songs on there and they've blown up. Like even remixes. People are making remixes of like well-known songs, and those DJs are getting like, yeah, like I think that's where it's really good for that kind of stuff. That's where it's underrated.
Yeah, for sure. That's quite just jumping in. There's a little bit. My point with like the chart stuff is places like TikTok are starting to hold more attention because that's where the people are.
That's it. Yeah,
like, that's where everyone. So you hear a song on there, you got the potential to get that as big as you could.
Yeah, big time. Like just as much as you can if you put a song on Spotify or Apple Music. Like you got just more of it. You got just as much of a chance of making that song go viral. But I think with Spotify and Apple Music, you really got to, find a way to get it out there. Whereas TikTok, I think all it takes is a couple of people using it in videos for it to go viral, and then you've got yourself a hit.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, I'd say I'm down the middle.
Down the middle, cool. Okay, next one up, Buddy Rich.
Oh, mate. Oh, jeez. That's a really hard one, but and I'll probably get a lot of hate for this being a drummer, but the only reason I'm saying it is because I think not because I don't think he's bad. I think it's because he's so good, and he's been such an influence on people that he's overrated.
Yeah.
That's I'm not saying he's bad. I'm not saying I wouldn't underrate that man whatsoever, because that man's got like pure skill. And that man has literally come from not even being able to play drums to being the all-time greatest drummer in the world.
Yeah.
The only reason I'm saying he's overrated is because he's influenced so many people, and he's one of everyone's favorite drummers, or top 10 drummers.
Yeah, so by default.
By default, he's overrated because everybody loves him, and he is wicked at what he does, and he's like one of the best drummers in the world. So that's why I'm saying he's overrated. I'm not saying because he's bad. It's just because I know that he's really good, so I'd overrate him for that.
Good answer. What about the artist, the late artist, Amy Winehouse?
Underrated, I think. Her eye for music and her eye for detail was pretty outstanding, to be fair. As much as her personality and her shown life, so her like kind of portrayed life, as I should say, made her look not a good musician because of all the drugs and drink and everything like that. And when she'd come on stage, she'd be half like off her face.
Yeah.
But I think she still put on a show, and she always did try to put on a show, because she even though she was like really struggling in her own life, she really loved her music and producing music and working with people. And I think she's underrated because everyone just thought she was just another sellout, basically, another, druggy, drinky kind of person just for the fame, really. But I actually think she really did care about what she wrote and what she made, because the Back in Black album she's got is like probably one of my favorite written albums, because of the style of music, and all the musicians, session players on that album are just top quality, man. Top quality. I actually would have loved to have been in that recording session, recording that album. So I think it would have been fun. I think you would have had a lot of fun with that. There's a lot of albums I wish I was in that session doing, because you would have had fun. But that's one, I think. Yeah, so underrated for me. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. What about Ringo Starr, the drummer?
Yeah. That kind of answered it there by going, yeah. I don't know, man. I think
it's your opinion, mate.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I like the Beatles, and I'm a Beatles fan in a way.
I mean, I personally feel that I don't think he added anything. I think he's a legend because he was associated with them three.
That's what every drummer says. That's what every drummer has said. He didn't bring anything to the table apart from the fact that he was in one of the biggest one of the biggest bands in the world.
By association.
And I don't think I personally, in his career, haven't seen him bring anything to the drum community apart from a drum kit, a snare, and himself. Musically, I wouldn't say nothing. So I would say overrated on the aspect that he's just known for being in the Beatles. And a lot of drummers would disagree, because a lot of drummers like Ringo and have been influenced by him, but I wouldn't class him as an influence of mine. I would class him as just like a drummer that I don't mind listening to, or wouldn't mind what, like, you know what I mean? Yeah. But yeah, overrated for me.
Cool. Overrated. Ringo's overrated.
Yeah.
Following on from that, very similar. What about Charlie Watts?
Charlie Watts. I don't know, actually. That's a pretty good one, to be fair. God, that's a really good one.
It's, again, similar era, massive band, obviously.
Yeah.
It's difficult.
I would say underrated.
Yeah.
Because I don't really know much about him personally. And I haven't really listened to a lot of Rolling Stones, only a fair bit. And from what I've heard, he was a good drummer. And, like, he's a legend in a way. Do you know what I mean? Because he's from the Stones. Yeah. I'd say underrated. And that's probably all I could say, because I don't really know much more.
Cool.
Yeah.
Fair. What about the band Green Day?
One of my best mates would probably kick me for this. I'm gonna go overrated.
Okay.
And I'm not gonna comment any more on it, because the only reason I'm saying overrated is because I'm a Blink-182 fan, and, like, that's just how it is. Sorry. I'm just gonna say overrated because I'm a Blink fan and I got to do it. So yeah, sorry, Green Day fans.
Cool. Moving on. What about the drummer and multi? He plays everything. He's super talented. But an interesting one to put to you, Alan Rubin.
Man, under bloody rated, man. To the so much extent that guy is probably one of my idols in playing. Like, I think a lot recently in my drumming, I've really tried to kind of mask a bit of Elan. Like, I find that I find that I kind of getting a bit more heavy, like, in my playing. I used to be quite laid back, quite chilled, and I can still do that. But I think for me, it was more of a case of, like, I've really started getting more kind of, like, I've got, not to brag, but I've gotten a bit more, like, broad and heftier. So my power behind my playing has gotten so much more powerful from when I was a kid, because obviously I've grown. So, like, I feel like, and I've listened to a lot of tracks, like, and albums that he's been on, like, you know, not just of what he's known for. And mate, like, unreal drumming, man. Like, if you haven't already, and I know you might have seen it, Roman, but for anyone listening or viewers, the best video I've ever seen that guy is the Guitar Center drum off on YouTube. That has to be the best. Like,
dirty.
Oh man, it's just the music. It's just the musicality behind it. It's just like literally like he programs like a tune into this programmer on the side of it, next to him, like a pad, And then he just like, I just love it, man. He just gets all like comfy and just like lets the beat play out a bit, and then starts going, like, and I'm just like, oh, like every time he comes in with it, I'm like, oh, he's smashing it out of the park. And that's probably one of the best. Yeah, definitely underrated, because not many people actually think of him like that. They just go, oh yeah, he's a bit overrated because like he's a heavy hitter, or he's like known for playing on this, playing on this. But mate, he was on Paramore's album,
Misery Business.
Yeah, latest album, and the Bricks by Boring Bricks album, I think it was.
Yeah,
man,
unbelievable.
Fire. The guy just and even plays with Angels and Air when he played with Angels and Airways for a little bit with Tom DeLonge.
Yeah, when he joined Angels, I was like, yeah, he's good. I knew it, like he knew he was in 9 Inch Nails and that. But when you showed me some YouTube stuff, and then I found out he was on Paramore and he wrote this, and then I saw him play piano and that. I was like, fucking hell.
And guitar and bass. Plays most instruments, but
unbelievable. He's definitely underrated.
Underrated, defo. Yeah,
nice.
Good one. Good arse though.
Moving on. What about the UK band, the Wombats?
I'd say underrated. Because they got some bangers. I've seen them live as well, which is pretty good. They were really good live. They put on a wicked show.
I thought you'd say that.
Cause I'm moving to New York. Cause don't you know what I mean? Like, it's just like, I don't know. I think their band as a whole are like really good players, and they like make really good tunes. And the drummer's hard. So yeah,
cool.
Easy.
Love it.
Easy.
Love it. What about the band Boxcar Racer?
I'd say underrated, because not many people know who they are, and they were like one of those bands like Plus 44. They were like that cross band, like where you had Mark and Travis from Blink-182 in Plus 44, and in Boxcar Racer was Tom and Travis, and like two other different players. So I think they're a bit, I don't really have much more to say on it. I'd say, underrated.
Underrated. Yeah, obviously they only made one album, but it was a banger.
Yeah, and that was a banger. Yeah, There is like one of the sickest drum intros that Travis has ever done. Like that snare intro, man, it's just wicked. So yeah, underrated.
Awesome. Okay, I'm gonna throw a few sort of weirder ones at you.
Okay. Weird ones, hey.
Weird ones. No, they're not weird, but
okay, all right.
I'm gonna move away from music for a second. Surprise myself.
Okay, all right.
What about podcast as a way of communicating and creating content?
I think it's underrated. I think a lot of people I think it's overrated in the fact that a lot of people are doing it now, because it's like a thing to do, and like people enjoy podcasts and listening to podcasts when they're on holiday and like on the plane or on the bus or in the car or whatever. But I think it's underrated in the fact that like I think it's a really good way to kind of. I've never been. People would disagree. I've never been much of a book reader. But I find when people read a book to me, like on podcasts where you can get books read to you, I probably I don't know. I suppose I'd probably do that a bit better than actually reading one myself. And so listening to people actually talk about topics and seeing different people's opinions and the way people communicate things, I think is really a key aspect nowadays in these kind of days of our lives, as we should say. Because when you text somebody, you don't really get the feel or the kind of the emotion, if that makes sense, of how they're saying it or how they're producing that text to you. Whereas in a podcast, you hear the voice and you hear them, and so you hear the emotion, you hear the attitude, you hear the sort of way they say it. So
the delivery.
Yeah, the delivery. So I think they're very underrated in that aspect, and they're very good for people that can't read or that kind of thing, for like who can pick up on hearing things. Yeah.
Wicked. Okay, underrated.
Underrated. Yeah.
Moving on. What about this one? Mm-hmm. What about the 9 to 5 life?
9 to 5 life. What, as in working?
As in the standard way of living, 9 to 5 job, Monday to Friday, payday Friday, and do some shit on the fucking weekend?
Which
I can appreciate a lot of people do, and they always have done.
I appreciate it. Yeah. I think I've always lived by something. And that's, if you have a dream and you have goals in life, you like, really kind of like what you said to me last night when we were chatting, like, go do it, because you're only here once.
Yeah.
So the aspect of I've always lived by is, if I don't follow my dreams from a young age, I'll never do it, because this is the time now where I need to put the hard work in, so that when I get to older, the work's been put in and I'm where I want to be. I can't be in a 9 to 5 job for the rest of my life, and then when I get to like my midlife crisis at 35, say, to 40, and I'm like, now I want to be a drummer, now I want to be a session player. Well, all my opportunities I'm not going to get them, because all the younger guys are going to get it, all the up and coming people, because all the older people are not going to get looked at, really, unless you've got it, what they're looking for. But you need to have the experience, so you can't just work a 9 to 5 job and say, I'm going to be a session drummer.
I'll do that later.
And then kind of walk in as if to say, like, I've been doing it for years, give me a job. It's like, no, that's not how it works. You got to put the time and effort in now. There's a saying I've always lived by as well, which is, I think it was,
I remember you saying about this.
Yeah, I said it. I think off the top of my head, it was something like, in your 20s, you should be like, I think in your 20s, you should be grafting. I think it is. In your 20s, you should be grafting. In your 30s, you should be dancing, I think. And then I think it was in your 40s, you should be laughing. Yeah. Something like that, along those lines. I'll have to find it and I'll have to say it as a thing. But I really found that quite interesting, because, like, not many people...
remember it.
Go on.
Wasn't it something like, in your teens you should be partying, or something like that?
Yeah,
and then
that's
in your
it.
20s.
That's it. That's the one. Yeah, in your teens you should be partying. In your 20s you should be grafting. In your 30s you should be laughing. That's it. That's the one. Yeah. So yeah, I've always lived by that, because I can't really complain. And, like, I'm gonna give a bit of my own information away here, but I'm only 22 years of age. Can you believe? I'm only 22 years of age, so I suppose, like, in my teens, you would still kind of class me as a teenager. I think some people would, some people wouldn't. I'm over that kind of. I'm at that a bit of that adult age now, but I'd still at that age where I should be partying. But my mindset's different to people. Like, and I've kind of feel like I've done my partying.
Yeah.
And I'm 22, so
a lot of people go right up to 25. Don't
exactly. But don't get me wrong, I do party. I'm not boring. Jesus, like, I still party. I still go out. I still enjoy myself. I still have fun, and party. But I don't do it as much as I did in my teens. Like a couple of years ago. I don't do it as much now, because I'm in my 20s now, and that's in the saying, is in your 20s you should be grafting. And I am grafting, and I'm always grafting, and that's my aim. Because by 30, in my 30s, I want to be laughing. I want to be like, I've done all the work. I'm where I want to be. Kaboom. Do you know what I mean? But I'll never stop grafting, even if I'm not in my 20s. I'll always be grafting. But it just means when I'm older, I've done the hard work and I don't have to worry. So it's kind of a case of, like, I've always lived by that. So that's my opinion on it. I kind of went off a bit there, but yeah, I can't remember what I said. Did I say underrated or overrated?
Overrated, I believe.
Overrated.
I'm assuming.
Yeah.
I don't know if you rated it, but I feel like
think so.
It would be overrated then.
Yeah, I'd say overrated, probably. Yeah. Yeah, overrated, because I don't want to do a 9 to 5. Yeah.
It's fair play.
Yeah.
What about Angels and Airwaves?
Underrated. Underrated. They're a really good band, and their way they make their music is the process is a lot different to what a normal standard band do. Like a standard band is just like, okay, we've got a song, we've got idea, we've got structure, let's do it. Whereas I think Angels and Airwaves always been really technical with the way in which they produce their music and the musicality. So and the sounds they incorporate and the production behind it. It's very, very well thought after. So I would have to say, I'd have to say underrated. Yeah.
Awesome. Mm-hmm. Awesome. What about the drummer Trey Cool?
Overrated, because Green Day are overrated, and he's a good drummer. He is a good drummer, but I'm just not a fan. So overrated for me.
Cool. Yeah. Moving on. What about the drummer Travis Barker?
Underrated, man. No joking. Yeah. I'm joking. Well, he's underrated to me because a lot of people think he's too overrated. But I think you need to understand that man is built his career on one major band, but he's also done a lot for other artists and worked with a lot of other artists in that meantime. But also he's done a lot of his own work and a lot of his own production and creating songs with people. But his approach to music work is very inspiring, I think. You know what I mean? Yeah. He has the dream life and he has everything, and that's really cool. That's a cool aspect. But I think for me, what inspires me about him is the energy and the motivation to just keep playing and just keep making music. And so for me, that's underrated because people wouldn't look at it like that. People just think, oh, he's Travis Barker, one of the greatest drummers in the world. He's so overrated because everybody loves him. It's not everybody loves him. You'll find that a lot of people do not like Travis Barker because he's overrated. But you need to I feel like with drummers, you need to understand more about them before you start saying whether they're underrated or overrated. But because I understand, I know a lot of drummers that I know, Travis is definitely underrated in my opinion in the aspect of all of that about him, but he's overrated to everybody else. So I'd say I'm in the middle with that one, but more on the underrated side.
Yeah, and the other thing, I don't know what your perspective is as a drummer, but at least from my point of view, Travis is one of the few drummers, because it's a very hard thing to do. He's a brand, he's known for being Travis Barker. Do you know what I mean? How many drummers can you say have done that? He's famous in his own right, isn't he?
I think Buddy Rich is probably one of the only other drummers I know has branded himself as being and then Travis has done the same. But Travis has got a lot more going for him in terms of just music. He's got his own fashion label. He's got his own it's custom stuff, and he's a big thing. He's made himself into a big brand and business, you know what I mean? But at the same time, he still loves music, and it's all about the music to him. It's all about working with music, not about anything else. So I'd say that about him. I'm in the middle, but more underrated. Yeah,
love that. Okay, just referencing my list here, we're down to two more to go.
Here we go.
The next one, I'm not sure if you have much knowledge or opinions on this band, but I'll put it to you anyway. What about Tears for Fears?
I'm
not sure if you're, because I'm a big fan, but I don't know if you're.
I'm not a massive fan, and that's not because I'm saying I don't like them. I'm just not a fan because I don't really know a lot of their music. I know their main songs, but I don't really know a lot of their music. So, I would be on the middle with that one. But right now, probably rated. But right now, I would say they're overrated because of this poxy fucking drum challenge that everyone's doing, where they're bloody playing "Everybody Wants to Rule the World" by Tears for Fears with an odd time signature, and it just fucks me off. Honestly, it's so bad. Just don't do that. Just don't. Whoever started that challenge just needs to I don't know. I don't know what needs to happen to that person, but whoever came up with the idea of, okay, well, let's put out a challenge of Tears for Fears. Everyone wants to rule the world in fucking odd time signature. Yeah. No, just don't do it. Just don't do that. You're just ruining the song.
Even if it doesn't sound good and just doesn't fit.
If I
Do it.
rate anybody that can play that song in an odd time signature and make it sound wicked. But I do not rate people that are just doing it to just jump on the bandwagon. I don't rate people that whoever first made it and was like, everyone was like, wow, that's wicked, I've got to do that. He must have been that good because he's done it well and he's made people want to do it. So fair play to you. But everyone jumping on the bandwagon, there's some drummers out there that have done it and I'm just like, what the hell are you doing? I thought you were a good drummer and now you're doing that and you're ruining yourself. You're just ruining yourself. Like, don't do that. Like, it's like me. I would never play a song that I wasn't 100% comfortable with. You know, I would never play a song like I've had people ask me to play Toto covers.
Yeah.
And as much as I'd love to be like, yeah, cool, yeah, I'll play a Toto cover, I don't want to. Because I know there's a lot of people out there that are such big Toto fans and such big fans of the music that if you don't play it well enough, you're just asking for people to just rinse you.
Yeah.
And it's not because I don't want to get rinsed. Like, come at me any day and rinse me. I honestly rinse me any day for what I do. I don't care.
I will, don't you worry.
Yeah, you do it because I don't care, man. I'll do whatever that makes me happy, but I just wouldn't play a song that I wasn't comfortable with. Hence why, being a drummer that does videos for Instagram and YouTube and blah blah blah, as well as does it for a living, I wouldn't do that Tears for Fears challenge in a million years because number one, I wouldn't want to play that song, and number two, I wouldn't want to ruin my reputation of playing shitly because I know I wouldn't do it right, and that's an honest opinion. So yeah, that's my opinion. I think overrated in my personal opinion.
Wicked, cool. All right then, last one on the list for you.
Go on.
Harry Styles.
I don't really have to explain it. Like, the guy's really good at what he does. I think he's better on his own than when he was in the One Direction. And I think he's made much better music being in that band. So I would say underrated because a lot of people just associate him with being from a boy band and, you know, blah blah blah. But I'd say he's really good at writing songs and underrated.
Yeah, love that. Actually, I'm going to throw a bonus one in because I almost crossed Harry out for this one.
All right.
And I know you've got a big sort of a full picture of this person's career and who they are as a person.
Yeah.
And what have you. So I'm going to put it to you because I know that a lot of people have like strong opinions either way. So it's just going to be interesting. Okay. What about Justin Bieber?
Underrated, man. I told you the story in that previous podcast about how he got beaten up for wearing a Justin Bieber jumper.
Exactly. How strong is that of a view?
That just shows you how underrated I think that guy is because I'm willing to rep a Justin Bieber jumper. And I'm not even a Screaming Girl fan. I just I think his music's really good. But I also think like more recently the stuff he's producing is really, really, I don't know. It's got good feel. It's got good vibe. It's written well. The time spent making it is like there's a documentary on YouTube about the process of him making his most recent album. I think it's great, man. I think when you see behind the scenes of how someone creates something, it opens your eyes a bit more to their music, and it opens your eyes a bit more to actually liking them for being like a musician and not just for being like that overrated young girl fan screaming love hunky person on a poster that all the girls love. You know, it's more of a case of like he is a musician and he should be taken seriously as a musician, not because he's that. Do you know what I mean? I think it's the same for you say for Harry Styles. It's the same for Harry Styles. You know, he's known for being in One Direction. Girls scream over him all the time, still do. But he's underrated because he's good at he's a musician. He's good at what he does. And I think being in that limelight from a young age, like same with like Justin more so because he was a young kid when he was first famous. But Harry was in a young boy band that grew up. You're put in this limelight and you're thrown in the deep end of just like it's a money making scheme. They both were. They both were a money making scheme. Look at him. He's going to get young girls' attention. We're going to sell tickets, merch, blah, 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 all that stuff. but you actually they've learned so much along their ways that they've put the stuff they make now is craft. It's like
Wicked.
it's experience and it's detail. They're showing you how hard they've worked to where they've got to, and the change that they've been willing to make as an artist. You know, from singing kiddie songs to mature, grown up chart toppers. You know that like. Yeah, okay, young people still enjoy, but like I think more people for the more mature music ear would start appreciating.
Yeah, do you not think it's amazing how many people like they get blinded by the lights? They look at someone like Justin back in the
Yeah.
day, a money making scheme. They've got labels pushing, do this, do that, and he's kind of just going along with it because he's just been signed.
Yeah, that's all it is. It's a
people,
young kid. It's a young kid.
But the talent gets it gets submerged in all this like bullshit, and people think, yeah, he's not talented, he's just good looking, he's just a pretty boy.
He's just a money. Yeah, it's just money making. Like they've auto enhanced his voice. They've done this, they've done that to make him. You know, your voice. He was a young kid. Of course, they're gonna auto enhance his voice. He's a young kid. Like excuse my French, but his balls ain't dropped. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So, like, the kid's going to grow up one day. His voice is going to change. His look's going to change. His maturity is going to change. Everything about him is going to change one day. He's not going to be the Justin Bieber everyone thought he was. You know what I mean? And, like, you and me have gone through teenage years where we're, like, a bit like, we think we're better than everybody else. And, like, being a bit reckless and blah, blah, blah. But, like, everyone does that. But everyone dissed him for being that kind of person. And I thought that was a bit wrong, to be honest with you, because
without knowing
the story, without knowing his story, you don't know him. No one knows him. You don't know. I don't know your full story, but I know you. You know me. You don't know my full story.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So the problem is you can't judge. It's like judging a book by its cover. You've been given this picture of someone, and you're just rating him on that. You're not rating him for the person he actually is or who he's become. And again, people are still rating him on the fact that he's a little kid. Oh, you were a little kid. You're famous because you got found on YouTube for singing and blah blah blah. So yeah, but actually, like, for anyone listening, and you're the same, like, listen to. I found it quite inspiring actually. I watched the YouTube videos, the YouTube sessions that he has, the documentary where he shows you behind the scenes of his latest album and talking about stuff.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
But there's the one episode where they show you him making Lonely with Benny Blanco.
Yeah.
The more recent one. If you just and this is something I've done because I kind of I wanted to understand the kind of the feeling behind the song. And people might think I'm weird for this, but this is just because I'm a musician and I want to get an understanding for it. And of course I was interested. Just turn the lights off, stick your headphones on, and lay down on your bed and stick on Lonely by Justin Bieber and Benny Blanco and listen to the words in that song, because that song is basically his life story in a 3-minute song. He's basically saying, like, everyone judged him for being a young, reckless, teenaging kid who had loads of money and loads of fame, but he had no one understood him. So no one really cared about him. No one actually cared, and I think that's true to this day. People still judge him for being that person. But if you actually seen what he's been through in the reason he went downhill as well, just shows you that he's like actually takes pride in his work and he is a good musician. He's not just an disobedient little kid. You know what I mean? So
exactly.
Yeah, for me, like that's a banging bonus question, because that guy to me is like. Now I rate him 10 times more than I did when I first heard of him, because I didn't know him. That's how I would put it.
Yeah, he's killing it.
Yeah,
underrated. Awesome.
Definitely.
Well,
definitely.
that's my list, mate. We're done.
Boy, that was pretty good, man. I'm not gonna lie, that was a banging list.
Not bad.
Yeah, it was good. I'm just gonna get my list up now. Hang on, let me find my list. Where did I put it?
Okay. Wish I had another coffee.
Where is my list? Where is it? Oh, here it is. I got it. I got my list. Okay, are you ready?
Cool. Yeah, let's rock and roll. I'm ready.
Right. I think I've got a couple similar to you. So, like, but it's good to get your opinion on them, I suppose. Like as well, like because you got mine on him, but we didn't get to know yours. So, do you think that Travis Barker is overrated or underrated?
I think he's massively underrated.
Yeah.
And I think the reason behind that is I think what he brings to a song on the drums is it adds huge amounts of value to every song. He never just does the simple thing. He always just everyone knows that. You should know that he's like the man that fucking adds the value.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
he's wicked, man. Like, and
as I said before, just the fact that he's built a big brand and he's this persona and he's famous in his own right, I think it just makes him underrated. I was in a studio once, and this experienced producer said to me that he thought Travis was shit, and I actually like had a bit of a this engineer in this studio. He said that Travis he thought he was shit.
What's his name?
I was.
I'm gonna call him out on this. I'm gonna call him out on this podcast. Okay. Come speak to me. Come speak to me.
Yeah. No, so it does. A lot of people think Travis is overrated, but yeah, I just think massively underrated. I think at times he likes to add a lot of punk attitude into his drumming, and he might speed up a little bit, but that's about that. That's what punk's about.
That's his style, isn't it? That's what he's known for. You know, it's what he started out doing. You know, and he's a massive punk fan. Like he loves
exactly.
He loves punk music. So yeah, I think
you can't like this guy in particular. I can imagine other people like they would say, "Oh yeah, but he speeds up." You'd be like, "Yeah, but that's what he's about. He's about aggression, attitude."
Yeah, but he's speeding up with precision. It's not speeding up because he's out of time.
Yeah,
it's speeding up with precision. Like it's in time and he's doing it right. So I mean, yeah. So you'd say underrated completely. Travis. Yeah, agreed.
100.
Dr. Dre, overrated or underrated?
Underrated, massively.
Yeah.
Massively underrated. I think I could talk for ages about Dre, but like I think a big reason that Eminem's as big as he is because of Dre. Yeah. Not because Dre picked him up, but
no, yeah.
Because Dre is a lot to do
with the production of his music. Of course. Yeah.
And everything Dre touches turns to gold. So he's
of course, because he's Dr. Dre. Like that guy is like the Michael Jordan of music. Like that's how I look at it, you know, because he's not only made a name for himself and created quality work and made a wicked career for himself. He's got a multi-million-pound company, Dr. Dre Beats, headphones.
Exactly.
It's like Michael Jordan, Air Jordans. It's like the same thing. It's literally like, you know, you've put all your craft and time, and finally you're doing something for yourself. Do you know what I mean? You know. I think it's wicked.
He's one of them guys that he's just done so much with his fame and platform. He hasn't just stopped. He's gone wrong and make a business now and do this.
Yeah. He's continuing. He's still going as well, though. He's still helping people produce music and stuff. It's like Tim. Actually, that was one of just because while we're on there, kind of Timbaland.
Yeah.
Same thing, innit? The guy's like was making music
similar
like
sort
Dre,
of rap producer, isn't he?
And now he's producing other people's music, and he's like with what Dre is with Eminem. He's like with like Nelly Furtado and Fergie and stuff like that. Like Timbaland is
very similar
because he's like made their like hits for them. You know what I mean?
I think Dre has an incredible talent of cherry picking an artist, say Eminem, getting the gangster attitude, putting it with some commercial pop, and just creating something that is just like timeless. So
big time.
Not. I think he's the best at it in rap.
Nice. That's a good answer, too. It's a good answer. Okay, this is a good one, I think, for you. Mechanical Bull album by Kings of Leon.
Ooh.
Overrated or underrated?
Just running through it in my head, just thinking about songs on it.
I could have asked you the Simple More one by Only Closer by the Night, but that's a banger of an album. So I know you'd say that's probably underrated. But this is one that I think like it would be good to get an opinion on, because I personally think it's underrated.
I think a lot of people, a lot of general people outside of Kings of Leon fans won't know Mechanical Bull. So I think underrated because it from like, in my opinion, like any Kings of Leon album from start to finish, it is cracking. So Mechanical Bull, I think, underrated for sure.
Nice. Take Off Your Pants and Jacket by Blink-182. Overrated or underrated? And bearing in mind, they have a lot of albums that could be overrated or underrated, but that's one that I've always been curious as to whether people think it's that.
Well, I think the way I would tackle it is like, say, like Enema of the State, I would say is like properly rated, because I think people appreciate it's probably the most important pop punk album ever.
Yeah.
And Self-Titled, which is their more experimental album, again, I think it's properly rated. I think it's people appreciate it for what it is. But Take Off, I think it's underrated. I think it's as good as the two albums I just spoke about.
Agreed.
But I think it gets talked about less as an album, so underrated.
I get you. It's good. Phil Collins, overrated or underrated?
Underrated. I'm going to go for Phil.
Yeah,
nice. I think a lot of people appreciate how good Phil is, but I think he's not. I don't think he's held in such regard as some artists.
He's the same. He's the same as Bieber in terms of like not being a childhood fame person, more being like an underrated musician, rated as a musician, like because everyone's just like, he was the drummer of Genesis, and then he started his own music. Yeah. It's like, but like he played drums on pretty much most of his songs and produced every aspect, and he's made movie soundtracks as well, all on his own accord.
Yeah,
like exactly. Man. He's literally my
kind
idol.
Of. Yeah, no, I get that. He's a classic example of some people that would be like, he's an alcoholic or he's a bit weird or whatever. But you know, he was in Genesis. What a massive band. Then he did his own thing, which was even bigger. His acting is brilliant. And I think people forget how many great songs he's wrote, and obviously he's a great singer and a great drummer. Like the guy's got everything. But yeah, I think he should be held in higher regard. So I'm going to go underrated.
Sick. Totally agree. The Midnight. Overrated. Yeah. I knew that was going to be your answer as well. But definitely underrated.
The Midnight are great. I think they're the best example of a band that have taken the 80s sound and brought it into the modern era.
Agreed.
And the guy, he's such a good songwriter and producer, and he's got a wicked voice. Like, they've got to be underrated.
Definitely. Yeah. John Mayer, overrated or underrated?
I'm going to go properly rated for John.
Fair enough.
Properly rated. I think he gets enough recognition for what he's done. I think he's an awesome artist.
Yeah.
I don't think he's underrated. I don't think he's overrated. So down the middle for me, mate.
Nice. Yeah. Drum and bass as a genre, do you think is overrated or underrated?
Interesting. I'm going to go underrated for D&B.
Yeah, I agree, because I love it, so it's fun.
The reason being, I think most people wouldn't give it the time of day, but they forget how big a scene it is in the
Oh
underground,
yeah.
and
Oh,
some
massive.
of the and a lot of these D&B festivals, they're huge. You know, they pull big numbers, and there's a lot of people that really appreciate it, and it's very like it translates internationally as well. It doesn't like anyone can enjoy it.
I get you. I
Do you
do
know what
get
I
you.
mean?
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
not
yeah.
like K-pop is, in my opinion, it's like struggling to come through a bit into like England and the USA. But
Yeah, I agree.
D&B is very much like, you know, I can imagine someone in Mexico enjoying it as much as someone in England. So underrated.
I totally agree. Fight Star, overrated or underrated?
Is this the guy from Busted? Is it? Is that Fight
Yeah,
Star?
yeah. Charlie Simpson.
Charlie.
The lead
Charlie's band.
singer.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's his band. Yeah, he's like his rock band. That like, yeah,
they're quite bit heavier. Yeah.
yeah. They're kind of heavy / not, but yeah, they're more like sort of like your alt rock, I'd say.
Yeah. So my only exposure to them was when me and you were touring and you would play them in the car. So I don't know a great deal, but they sounded really good, and I don't think many people know about them. So I'm going to say underrated.
Okay, sweet. Totally
Yeah,
agree. 80s music as a whole, overrated or underrated?
it's underrated.
Definitely.
I know a
It's,
lot of people that hate 80s music, and they actually say, oh, I hate the 80s. I
I
hate
love
that
the 80s,
sound,
man.
or that
I love the
cheesy
sound.
sound.
Nah, I love it, man.
Yeah.
That's the stuff. That's like where the Midnight comes into it. If you haven't heard the Midnight people, definitely go check them out because they have got some wicked tunes with some 80s synths and like the classic saxophone solos. Man, it's wicked. Proper
Yeah.
sick.
I
Love
think
that stuff.
it was a time where it all came together for music, and it's the peak of writing, production.
Yeah.
You know, you were starting to get advancements in the studio.
Yeah, I get you.
Where production was getting better. I mean, you had people like Michael Jackson and Madonna, like in the
Yeah, it's
same at
true.
the same time. Phil Collins, like
Yeah, it's true.
incredible. Yeah, I don't think
Very
there's
true.
been a better decade for music, if I had to pick.
Agreed. Nickelback, overrated or underrated?
Um,
It's
I'm
quite it's quite a hard one.
you won't like this, but I'm going to go with overrated for Nickelback.
Yeah, I don't like it, but yeah, fair enough.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I
Um,
understand. Everyone has a different opinion on. I don't know why everybody like thinks they're so overrated. So I don't think they're overrated at all because I think they're actually more underrated because so many people have like negativity against their music, and I'm just like, why? It's music. Like it's no different to you fucking turning around and saying I don't like Justin Bieber because he's a knobhead.
yeah.
It's like, yeah, but you don't know Justin Bieber. So why are you calling him that? And you don't actually understand. It clearly, like, I understand people saying that it's overrated because probably they think, oh, I don't really know. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
that's fair enough. But, like, I wouldn't say I'm like a huge fan of them. But I'm definitely a fan enough to go and pay money to see them in concert. And I have seen them 3 times. And I must admit, probably the one of the best concerts I've ever seen. Like each time as well. Like they put on a show and their sound they produce live is really good. And their songs are just hits in it, really.
Yeah.
But I think that's why people don't like them is because their songs are hits. They're not like different. I think they just like they think
I
they're just
just
that one hit wonder band kind of thing with like
Yeah,
different.
I know what you mean. I think it's I think they're talented. I think the guy's got a good voice. They always write catchy songs, but the reason I say overrated is I don't think they've done anything original, and I don't think they're that special as a band.
Fair
So,
enough.
yeah, prob overrated. I could have gone down the middle, but
Yeah.
slightly overrated, I think.
Yeah. I must admit, just on that point, that Daniel Adair, the drummer for Nickelback, is probably one of the most underrated drummers in the whole of the drumming industry because that guy's
Drummer.
like technicality is like unreal and like it's really underrated. Like they have a song on one of their most recent albums called The Act Part 3.
Yeah.
and the drumming in that is just like wicked, man.
Really impressive.
Really,
I need to. I don't know a lot about.
Yeah, I'll have to send it to you. But anyone listening, if you're not a Nickelback fan, it's fine, obviously. But if you want to check out like some like if you're a drummer even, and you want to check out some really cool ideas and creativeness, then check out the Act Part 3 from Nickelback, because the drumming in it is like quality, proper quality.
I'm gonna check it out.
Toto, overrated or underrated?
Massively underrated.
Fair enough.
I think that they've had a few big hits. I think people see them as a cheesy 80s band, when I think they're some of the most talented musicians of all time. For those of you that don't know, a lot of the Toto guys helped to write and played on the album Thriller, Michael Jackson's Thriller. Like, I don't know, I don't think musically, I don't think it gets much better than Toto. So for me, yeah, I think they're underrated. I just don't think people see them for what they actually are.
Fair enough.
I think they think they're a cheesy 80s band. So
I don't really have an opinion on them because I don't really know them that well, but I would say I'm in the middle. But the only reason I would say I'm in the middle is because I'd say as musicians they're underrated, but I'd say they're overrated because they're played too much.
Yeah, they do get played quite a lot.
So that's the only reason I'd say that, because I don't really know them that well. So yeah,
awesome.
That's why. Ozzy Osbourne, overrated or underrated?
Ooh, that's a good one. Old Ozzy.
I bloody love Ozzy, man.
I think he's underrated.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I think
I'd say the same.
He's had an incredible music career and as a celebrity and a persona. And I just think he's so unique as a person.
Defo.
And I think people take that for granted. So
Defo.
And like Sabbath are like one of the innovators.
Wicked band, isn't it?
Yeah. So yeah, underrated, I think. It's got to be.
Sick. Angels and Airwaves, overrated or underrated?
Underrated.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know. I literally don't know why more people don't like them.
Neither do I.
I don't. I played them to friends. I've tried to recommend AVA, and it just doesn't resonate. But like I could sit there with my headphones on and listen to a song like "Breathe" or "A Little's Enough" or some of their slower stuff. They got so many incredible songs. I just don't know why more people don't sort of connect with it. I don't know.
I agree.
I think they're underrated.
I get you.
Yeah.
I really enjoy their kind of upbeat stuff. But
you like Saturday Love?
Yeah, I like Saturday Love. I like The Adventure.
Yeah.
That's like one of my favorite songs by them.
Amazing song.
And I like, the one thing I like is Elan Rubin, I think it is. I can't remember actually if it was Elan or it was the other drummer. Atom, yeah. Everything's Magic. That groove, like boom,
the hi-hat.
They're like, it's like proper like, mate, such a good groove to play, man.
It's great. Yeah, like I say, it does confuse me.
I wish this like audio wouldn't get all like fuzzy and kind of, because I'd sit on the kit there and try and play it for you, but I don't know. I feel like it would get really like fuzzy if I started playing. I don't know. I won't do it though. It's embarrassing.
It's a good groove. Maybe we should cover it.
Yeah, I think so. We should do that. That'd be quite cool. Different as well. Architects. Architects. Overrated, underrated. Fair enough. I agree, because I think they're more of a modern band on the scene. I only really kind of become big most recently, like kind of along the same lines of Bring Me. You know, it's the same kind of thing. You know, it's like Bring Me came really big all of a sudden, and then Architects are slowly creeping behind. And I feel like they're becoming quite big as well, Architects, which is quite good. I agree.
I think they're a band like like Bring Me that they're gonna get a lot of hate from the hardcore fans in that scene, because they're a little bit cleaner and more commercial.
Yeah,
A
I
bit
get
like
you.
Bring Me started to kind of move away from their roots a little bit, they got a lot of hate, and I think Architects will get the same. But they're such a good band, and I think
yeah.
they'll end up becoming
a big band.
I think they might get to like Wembley level, maybe. Well,
If they do, I'm going.
yeah, in like
I'm
5 years' time or something.
I'm going.
Yeah, I think they're on their way. They're a really good
definitely.
band.
So we're going underrated for them.
Underrated for Architects. Cool. Yeah.
Dua Lipa. Overrated or underrated?
I think she's properly rated.
Yeah, I agree.
I think her latest album, Future Nostalgia, was one of the best albums of last year.
Yeah.
I doubt
it was, wasn't it? It was, wasn't it? Like she won a EMA for it or something, on it, like best sold album or something, or best new album or something. I don't know.
She did. Yeah, it was a wicked album. I like the way they blended disco with hip hop and
it's cool. Yeah.
I doubt she had much to do with writing it. I could be wrong, but I doubt it. From what I know, I think it would have been a part of a sort of big songwriting team that put that together.
Right.
I don't think she's underrated. I think she's an okay performer. I don't think she's the best performer.
Right.
I don't think she's the best singer, but I think her vocal tone is quite special. You know it's her when you hear her. So
yeah, you do. Yeah.
Yeah, I've down the middle. I think she's properly rated. Yeah.
Okay. Michael Jackson, overrated or underrated?
It's difficult. Very difficult. I'm a huge fan of Michael Jackson's songs. I think he's the greatest performer ever. I think I don't know how I would rate it though.
I'd rate it down the middle. I'd be properly rated because you're the same. Like, I'm a fan of his music and he's a great performer, but I wouldn't know where to really lie with him. You know?
Yeah, same here.
Yeah.
I think there's an element of like he's had a lot of other shit outside of his music, and I think that has kind of I don't know, it's affected what people think of him as a musician.
Again, singer. Another persona thing, isn't it? What you've been shown of him is not what he actually has been, what he actually is. You know what I mean?
If you look at it for what it is, if you look at his sales, his music, him as a performer, all of that music-based stuff, I think he's pretty hard to beat.
Like that This Is It DVD, the one that he got, Michael Jackson, This Is It, where he shows you like that tour that he was doing before he died.
Yeah.
And like the way he's really involved in the production and the way in which things are done when he's live and stuff. Like he's really in control of it. Like, you know, you having him, he is basically, even though he had a musical director, he was still the main musical director. Like what he says 100%. Goes. It was like what he says goes, because he knows what he's hearing. And it was like, then the other musical director had to go on that and kind of tell everyone else in a way they would understand. Whereas, because Michael would always put it differently. That's a really good example of like musicianship, like in the industry, like watching that scene where he's like trying to explain how he wants it to be played, like a section of the song. And then the band start playing and he's like, he gets really intense about it. Like they start playing and he's like, no, you're doing it wrong. Like, it's got to be like this. And he doesn't just go, it's got to be like this. He like says, it's got to be like this. And then he does it. And then he sings it, or he like dances it and goes, it's got to be like, pa, pa. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, he really explains it. Like, it's really interesting. Like, because people still do that to this day, but it's more of us that's really interesting how it's done. Definitely.
Unbelievable. Yeah. And he is, for those of you that don't know, he is probably one of the hardest working people.
Oh yeah,
and his
definitely.
ear was absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
His ear, like, and if you listen to like some of his, like if you listen to just the vocal tracks of one of his songs and you hear like the 10-barrel harmonies that he did, Jesus Christ,
it's mental,
like,
isn't it?
So much talent.
Right, moving on. Blood, Sugar, Sex, Magic by Red Hot Chili Peppers album. Overrated or underrated?
Good album.
Blood, Sugar, Sucker, Puss, yeah, mud.
Properly rated, I think.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I agree with that kind of. I do agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
A couple more left. Hans Zimmer, overrated or underrated?
Underrated, I think.
Defo.
Not taking anything away from him. I think a lot of these film composers, people like him and John Williams, they just don't get.
Mate, John is my man.
Much love.
John's my man. Like I'm a big Star Wars fan, so John's my man. Like that's how it goes. Do you know what I mean? But Hans Zimmer is like the guy. He's created some bangers like for films and stuff, like proper good stuff.
Yeah. And if you listen to Hans talk like in a masterclass, you'll realise how clever the guy is.
Big time. It's worth investing in that. You know, you can buy that thing called Masterclass.
Yeah, that's great.
Hans Zimmer's got, I think, like 16 episodes where he basically shows you how to become a composer for like film scoring and stuff. And he shows you how he makes his music and how he gets the ideas and generates. The guy, man, I could sit there and listen to him all the time because he's so intelligent about what he talks about and how he explains it. It just it pulls you in. It's not like, oh, this guy's boring. He's boring me. It's like proper like, whoa, I didn't know you could do that. Like, how's he done that? Like, it's one simple thing that you would never imagine to do. Like, you know, even the fact that you can create a movie soundtrack using one room mic.
Amazing.
And a whole orchestra. That's mad. That is mad. Like, I can't even get my head around it. One microphone hanging from the ceiling in a room with an orchestra, and it picks up the whole thing, and it gets that really like massive loads of reverb, really distant sound, but really like the way it gets mixed just brings it like, yeah, man, so good. Yeah. That I think I just got like as they say, a man boner then. I think like there's like this saying where you get like a man boner, like of the excitement you get for something. I think the excitement I got was the fact that guy is just a genius. No, I think it's just fucking funny. That's just my weird sense of humor. Pino Palladino. Pino Palladino.
He is a underrated bass player.
Defo.
I think.
Defo.
He's not overly flashy for the most part. As a player.
I agree.
And I think for that, people don't talk about him much. He doesn't get much heat.
Yeah, I agree.
But I appreciate players that want to be in the pocket grooving and doing their job right. And Pino is
the guy.
Example of that.
Yeah, so, definitely.
And don't get me wrong, he can be flashy, but he's there to do a job.
Defo.
He's the man. Underrated Pino.
Underrated Pino. Mark Hoppus. Overrated or underrated?
That's a difficult one. I think he's properly rated as a musician. Okay, so like his songwriting, his singing, and his bass playing. I think we all know what we think about Mark in that aspect. I think he's properly rated. He's good at what he does.
Yeah.
I do think he's underrated as a persona and a performer.
Fair enough.
I think people forget when you go back to the early days of Blink when they first started touring, like the energy that Mark brings to a stage and the kind of stupid persona.
Yeah.
I think that was a huge part of like why they became successful and why so many people were like, I love these guys, because Mark's he just seems like a great person. So I think underrated as a persona.
Nice. Good answer. This was one that I'm not too sure if you know them. You might know them. You might not know them. I've got into them a lot more recently than what I did know of them. But I just want to get your opinion on them. Huey Lewis and the News.
Oh, I love them.
Yeah,
I love them.
they're
80s.
sick, man. They're like, I'm a big Back to the Future fan. So when they done 2 of the songs off the Back to the Future soundtrack, and because obviously that's like that similar time period, and mate, every time I hear it just makes me want to like dress up like Marty McFly from that Future and start prancing around the living room with like white socks on. But like it's just like but it's just like yeah, I just want to get your opinion on that.
I think they're such an awesome band, and like I do listen to their albums start to finish, and they're great. And obviously a lot of people know them for Hit to Be Square.
Which is a tune.
They're kind of, at least in this country, I think you could regard them as a one-hit wonder. I can't remember if they had a second big song or not. But I think a lot of people think because of that song, I think I don't know, they're kind of been tarred with this brush of it's just another cheesy 80s band that had a hit. But
yeah,
they're so like the grooves are wicked on there,
mate, stuff. Big time. Such good grooves.
And they're all really talented musicians as well. I would recommend that everyone goes and looks into their other stuff and their back catalogue. Underrated.
Yeah, definitely. Power of Love and Back in Time are 2 of my favourite tunes on him.
Yeah.
That's my bang.
Back in Time. Love Back in Time.
That's such a tune.
Good
Paramore. Question. Paramore, overrated
good
or
one.
Underrated?
That's a good one. Sin Paramore, big Paramore fan. I'm gonna say underrated, just slightly, and I think the reason behind that is they didn't quite seep into like the general market and the commercial
I get you.
area.
Yeah.
Like Green Day, for example, like they managed to hit that height of being a household name.
Yeah.
Where Paramore, I feel like Paramore could have, but they didn't quite get to that
stage. Yeah, I get you.
That top all-time level. So I think slightly underrated because they're so good.
Yeah,
so
they
good.
are. Okay, then your opinion. I've got 2 more. This is this first one of the last 2.
Awesome.
So what's your opinion on Justin Bieber then? Overrated or underrated?
I think he's hugely talented. I think he seems like a really good person. And a lot of people think that's ridiculous, but having watched a few things on him, I just think I think everyone had the wrong picture of him. I think everyone judged him without knowing the full story, as we said about earlier. But like great voice. I think the value is in his voice. Like the guy could sing anything and it would sell. He's just got such a great voice on a recording voice.
Agreed.
He's a really good dancer. He's got good style. I don't know, I'm assuming he puts his own outfits together, but he always like looks on point, and he sets trends as well.
Yeah, he's got his own company, isn't he? Drew House.
Drew
House. Yeah, I like their jumpers and socks. I'm want to get some.
Same.
I just want to get some. Yeah, they're like socks are sick.
Drew House is very like skate vibe, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, very baggy as well. Like loads of room in it. So I like stuff like that. Like comfy in it.
Yeah. And talking to them, their marketing strategy is really clever because they don't even like when he posts a picture of like some models like wearing Drew House, he doesn't even put like a website or anything. It's just that like product placement. It's really like forward thinking.
He knows what to do, isn't it? He runs out with like one of his like good friends, I think like Jordan or something like that. I think his name is.
It's his manager, isn't it?
Yeah. It's like his kind of managed/friend. Like they made it together. Last one.
Yeah, but I do think underrated for Justin.
And I
think he made like from 2015 onwards, he absolutely started killing it.
Sweet. Last one. Now, this is like more just getting an understanding on this one and what you think. But Roger Taylor, overrated or underrated?
Roger Taylor.
Obviously,
Which one?
drummer for Queen.
Not Duran Duran.
No, not that Roger.
Why you got to do this to me? I know you're a big fan. I'm going to say properly rated. I'm going to finish on down the middle.
Properly rated. That's fair enough. That's fair enough.
Yeah.
I do agree in certain aspects. I think I agree with you. But I'm a big Queen fan.
I just think, yeah, and I appreciate that. I think it's a difficult one. I don't, again, a little bit like Ringo. I just don't think he brought much to the table as a drummer or a personality.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think he's just like, he's really good at what he did, if that makes sense. Same as Ringo, they were good at what they did, but they just didn't bring much to the table.
Yeah, like remember, obviously you remember Freddie, you remember Brian.
Yeah.
The bass line, you remember the bass lines, but the drummer and the beats, like to me, you don't remember any of it.
And no one remembers the bass player.
No, not even me.
No. John Deacon. Yeah. That's the thing. It's well, it doesn't matter. I just thought I'd end on that one because it's kind of like one. It's similar to like your Ringo one. Like it's one you're not really too sure on, but yeah, that's my 25.
You done a good job there.
That's our answer.
Well done. Well done. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, that was good. It's good. I enjoyed. It's nice to get an idea of what people think about different things and like, you know.
It is, isn't it?
We might have to do it. It's difficult to think of them, but you might have to do another one, like, and maybe like see if we can get people sending us some. Like,
yeah, that's what I want to try and
then
do.
Kind of like we can like overrate or unrate it ourselves, like on what they've sent, like rather than us pick things. Like let people send us some ideas. So if you've got any like people or albums or like, you know, artists or anything like songs, anything like that, like comment them below, message us, anything like you want like us to like kind of rate, I suppose, and we'll do another one of these. And yeah, definitely get some more opinions and stuff. But I think it's hard because I think there's some in there where I could have actually had a bit more of a longer conversation.
Same here.
Like, because there's a bit of an opinion on them, but I think maybe we could do that in another episode. Maybe we could have a bit more of like what we could talk about things like that in an episode. Maybe people might be interested.
Yeah. Sounds good. We can cover it. We can cover, like this. I've got a few as well that I'd like to elaborate on. So yeah, we'll do that. We'll do that. But let's wrap it up. I think we've done a good job there.
Yeah, that's good.
We got through them.
Sick. So we've got a new episode coming out relatively soon. That'll be another one of our chat shows and another Groove Sessions play video. And then we hope you enjoy them and stick around because we've got a lot more content coming. We've got some really, really cool guests coming up at the beginning of the year, which we're working closely with at the moment. So keep your eye out for some posts about that. But yeah, that's all I can say. I won't get you too excited. I won't tell you who it is, but yeah, we'll get there. But yeah, thanks for joining us. It's been another episode of the Groove Session Show, and we hope to see you in the next episode. Keep safe and catch you soon.
Yeah, look after yourselves.
See you later. Bye.
Bye.